This is a tale of ancient times. When the world was on the brink of destruction, 7 heroes rose from the ashes to save all the realms. Behold, the 7 deadly sins!
Many of us watched the 7 Deadly Sins on Netflix, all the way back when selfie sticks were hailed as the height of human creation and not just used by Asian tourists at the Grand Canyon. Then in 2019, screenshots of frames that were clearly drawn by Ray Charles flooded the internet, and many like myself decided, I'm not gonna watch that, I got other stuff to watch. But last month, as my father dragged me to bike across Portugal and Spain through thunderstorms, it got me thinking maybe the anime can't be that bad. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. So let's take a look at the anime that most people never bothered to finish to piece together what went wrong and how I, with 0 animation abilities, 0 writing skills, and a minor in African American studies for some reason, would fix it. Now let me give you a satire synopsis of the anime to catch you up to date, and I will be skipping a lot. 10 years ago, the 7 Deadly Sins supposedly betrayed the kingdom of Leones by making a pincushion of the Grand Master of the Holy Knights and then vanishing off the map. 10 years passed until the princess of the kingdom of Leones, Elizabeth, stumbles into a tavern saying that the kingdom has been overthrown by the Holy Knights, and that she's looking for the 7 Deadly Sins to help save the kingdom. Meliodas, the owner of the tavern, says,
"Aren't they evil? That's like asking Dan Schneider to help make more Nickelodeon TV shows. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's like asking P. Diddy to help a kid's rap career."
Meliodas still decides to help because he's actually the leader of the 7 Deadly Sins, so together they go out to try to find the other sins. Deanne was Slump in Moisty Mire. She's a giant whose entire purpose in the show is to lose every fight she's ever in. Bond was where most of them should have been, prison. Many years ago, Bond was searching for the Fountain of Youth, which led him to the fairy forest where he ran into Elaine. They became rather good friends. Oh, thank God. I mean, no, why? Anyone but them! Elaine sacrifices herself, giving Bond the Fountain of Youth, making him immortal, with his singular goal to resurrect Elaine. King was on Reddit defending random women. His backstory is that he's the fairy king who was supposed to be there to protect the forest but was busy raising his future wife. Finally, Gother, who is just hanging around. He's a doll who lacks emotions and really wants a heart. Get out of here, Tin Man wannabe. Go follow the yellow brick road or something. While collecting the 5 deadly felons, Hendrickson, one of the 2 new Holy Grand Masters responsible for framing the 7 deadly sins, collected the key to reawaken the Demon Clan that was sealed 3,000 years ago. Why?
Holy Knights are too soft nowadays. Back in my day, Holy Knights were real men and not built like mechanical dicks with arms.
What the hell, man?
So, to stop the Demon Clan from being resurrected and save Elizabeth, the 5 deadly felons attack Leones along with help from King Arthur and Merlin, the 6th sin who is also here now. However, Hendrickson and the Holy Knights are far more powerful than they should be because they've been shooting up demon blood like homeless people in West Virginia. Luckily, they have every druggie's weakness.
No, is that the DARE program? No, they made me sign a completely legally binding contract that makes it so I can never do drugs in my life. Also, what's that?
Yeah, baby!
As soon as Season 2 started, they added power levels, saying things like, "It's reacting to our power level," and "It's over 9,000! Despite reducing Hendrickson to atoms, he's still alive, and the seal to the demon world was partially broken by the other leader of the Holy Knights, Dreyfus, who had a demon controlling him all along. This allows the 10 commandments, the 10 strongest members of the demon race, to be revived. To counteract them, we're introduced to my glorious king, my
sunshine, my only sunshine.
Escanor is the final member of the 7 deadly sins, and the strongest of all of them when the sun is up. To try to keep up, everyone begins intensive training. Meliodas dies. Now it gets bad. It got me watching from my bed like... They even decided to turn the blood white. Never in a million years did I think I'd be looking up uncensored versions of the 7 deadly sins after the age of 16. It starts by telling us about Elizabeth's and Meliodas' curses. When the original Holy War was going on 3,000 years ago between the angels, demons, giants, humans, and gnats, Meliodas was the leader of the 10 commandments, but he fell in love turning into Bob from Open Season.
Oh, Meliodas, I think we should bring peace between the races. Oh, I agree, it's a marvelous idea.
So the Supreme Deity and Demon King decided,
I know we've been fighting since the dawn of time and could kill them and just be done with it, but Fuck those kids in particular.
Giving Meliodas the curse of always being resurrected when he dies, but each time he loses his emotions, slowly turning into my ex. And Elizabeth got infinite reincarnation, where she will always be reborn without her memories, fall in love with Meliodas, regain her memories of her past lives, then die within 3 days in front of him. This is why Meliodas' goal of the anime is to break the curses. Back in real time, Elizabeth gets her memories back, meaning she has less than 3 days before she gets sent back to the character creation. Panicking because he's tired of changing her diapers, saying,
You're gonna be such a heartbreaker when you grow up.
he decides to join the demons, absorb all the commandments to become the new demon king, then break the curse. Now Zeldris, the new leader, is not okay with this. This is his birthright. Until he's offered a big titty vampire mommy. I believe Zeldris responded with, "Awooga!" Normally, Meliodas wouldn't do something so rash, but since he lost his emotions last time he died, he still had that post-death clarity. So, Bond goes to Purgatory to get his emotions back, since he's the only one who can survive there. Because 1 minute in Purgatory is 1 year in the real world. It has poisonous air that eats at the flesh and souls of all mortals. In other words, California. But all the pain Bond felt, the years he suffered, was nothing compared to the pain I went through after Elizabeth got that great Clips haircut. On the bright side, Arthur dies. King gets his final form, issue. Bond returns from Purgatory and revives Elaine by giving up his immortality.
As long as I can fulfill the promise I made to you. To steal you away someday, no matter what.
What Bond didn't know is that the only thing that would be stolen away from him was his freedom. Realistically, think of how romantic this could have been if she hit puberty 15 years ago. The Demon King takes over Meliodas' body, they team combo the Demon King and win. But in the process, the Archangel most likely to say demonic with the hard C dies. Any final words?
This is but one small step along the way. The first step that will bring the goddesses and demons together after despising each other for so long.
What? No, man. Didn't you just commit genocide the other day? I changed a lot in the last few days I've been unsealed.
You became unracist in a day.
Yes?
Meliodas breaks the curse, Bond loses his virginity in chapter 308, trust me it's important to the lore, everyone celebrated, and then there was rock.
What's 17 more years? I can always start again. Make another kid.
Guys, guess who's not dead? The Demon King who actually took over Zeldris' body. So did nobody bother to check on him after the final battle? Team combo, they got him that time. Wait, no, actually the Demon King just takes over the Earth. Then with one more team combo, the Demon King was finally defeated. But Escanor, although knowing the outcome, used up all of his life force in the final battle and passes away. Then Merlin teleports them away, revives Arthur because he's the King of Chaos, which is the primordial force that created the Demon King as supreme deity. Hawk's mother was actually where Chaos was sealed, and now Arthur can create anything. And this cat is the descendant of Chaos and evil. This is some Kaguya level balderdash.
But you don't understand. This was all part of Merlin's plan. It was her who reactivated the curse on Elizabeth. It was her who allowed the Demon King to take over Meliodas. And it was her who increased the price of the $5 footlong.
Merlin, take a seat. You're not Eisen. Cat gets absorbed and they all get married and have kids. And you know what Meliodas' kid got for his birthday? He got to watch the whole anime. Poor kid. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Get the hell out of here, Horton. The animation had me believing that I could animate this. I couldn't, but it was so bad that I could get an atheist to believe in me. I mean, they took away red blood cells. The only thing that should be doing that is autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Burning with lunar equinox. The Meliodas versus Escanor fight was the fight that was supposed to be up there with Sukuna versus Maharaga, Saitama versus Boros, Twilight versus Tyrek. Instead, it came closer to watching a Beyblade battle. This is one of the reasons it's known as 7 Deadly Frames, more like 7 Deadly Facelifts, jeez. There are not many times when it's universally agreed that the manga is better than the anime, but this is one of those times because the animation looks like Play-Doh when you combine all the flavors. This is mostly due to A1 Pictures after season 2 saying, I don't want to play with this anymore, giving it to Studio Dean. Need I say more? But why would A1 Pictures stop making 7 Deadly Sins? Well, fake money, baby! Why make more 7 Deadly Bankruptcies when our cash cow is about to make us millions by turning Sylvester Stallone into a cute anime girl? The real reason is because after the Prisoners of the Sky movie didn't perform nearly as well as Ordinal Scale, or a single Asuna figure for that matter, they decided it wasn't profitable anymore. And since basically no studio wanted it due to the time constraints, it resulted in anytime you pause it, something funny will be on screen. screen. Face structures are constantly changing. Every character looks like they failed a Botox. Look guys, it's turning into night and they totally aren't just decreasing the brightness of layers. I originally wrote, make sure to mention I am nitpicking scenes that look bad. It's not all bad. That was before I started season 3 and I was wrong. It was all bad. So here are a few of my favorite scenes to highlight just how abhorrent the animation was. This is not my Bon. These are fairy PNGs being moved across the screen. Meliodas just floats away here. And I'm no genius, but that smoke is moving sideways. This wouldn't be as problematic in a show like Non-Baiori, but when a show is, well, a battle shonen that highlights fights, animation is important. Because 12-year-old me doesn't care about the deep emotional turmoil of how it feels losing a loved one hundreds of times in front of your eyes. I care if when Escanor fights, he has more frames than a loaf of bread. Afterwards, I did watch all of the movies and sequels, and I will say that I am still a certified CGI hater. I felt like I was watching gameplay from the 7 Deadly Sins 3DS game. Actually, that might be too insulting to the 3DS game. To be fair though, the fights were better and the 4 Horsemen had some great animation. But maybe this was just their master plan. By making the anime unwatchable, it creates a hole in your heart like when you only eat half a cheeseburger, forcing you to read the manga, increasing the manga sales. Or maybe it just sucked, I don't know. Bit of a hot take, but I am against pedophilia. I don't have nearly enough subscribers for that. But I'm not a big fan of the 7 deadly groomers. I don't know how or why, but every character in this show has been groomed or is a groomer. You of course have Meliodas, but he didn't choose this life. He has that playground riz built into him. Merlin fell in love with him after meeting him once, and because she couldn't get him, she tried to fill that void with knowledge, leading her to Aizen out. I personally fill that void with Swiss rolls and false hope. She even made this adult form, even though she's eternally 12, to get with Meliodas, which was probably her biggest mistake. Deanne did the exact same thing. She got a parasocial relationship from a single meet and greet, and by the time she met him again, it was too late because
I like him younger.
As young as possible.
It's difficult to talk about Meliodas without mentioning.
Keep your hands off my woman, understand me?
The fuck? Now, I actually don't think this is as bad as people say. The poor guy got asked a, if I was a worm, would you still love me? question and followed through. Then you have Bon and Elaine, and when I look at this, I think, man, she has a good skincare routine. And I'll just say it, Bon was groomed. My poor guy got cougared, which clearly runs in his blood, because you know Jericho, that nice young lady who had a pissing contest with Elaine? When she said, I'll be with him until he's interested in me, she meant that, even if it meant only a part of him would love her, and I do mean his sperm, because she is okay with the sequel. King kind of Stockholm Deanne into loving him, but he does get a pass because it's a childhood romance. Kind of. Well, one was a child. I will defend the mangaka a bit, because maybe he just likes drawing characters younger, since it's intended for a younger audience, and it's not just the girls drawn this way. Meliodas is built like a 12-year-old bodybuilder that claims to be natural. However, this was an anime that I feared somebody walking in on me watching because of the fan service. I once saw my dad watching this on Netflix and quickly skipped to the Escanor fights, then quickly turned it on to Konosuba, which I regret slightly less. I don't want to see someone getting groped every 3 seconds as the punchline. I get that the audience it's intended for just stopped using pacifiers a few days ago, and this would definitely keep a younger me watching. But maybe I don't want to see a panel saying that I'm gonna wear panties for the first time. Granted, this anime is inspired by Dragon Ball, and Goku did a bit of funny business back in the day, but the difference is Goku was an innocent child, not the equivalent of a creepy guy hanging out in Hooters. Then you have Merlin, who dresses like this because she doesn't care what other people think. If that were true, she'd be wearing jeggings or whatever Adam Sandler wears, but I'm not complaining. Anyone you think is dead isn't. The amount of people that die and come back is up there with Kazuma. Elizabeth's sister is dead? No, she's not. Hawk sacrifices himself heroically to save the kingdom. Just kidding, he just shrank. Hendrickson? Not dead. Melascula somehow never dies, but I'm sure she's definitely dead by the end of the series and won't come back in the sequel. Arthur can't even kill himself properly. Deanne's teacher who sacrificed herself and is Deanne's entire backstory dances off the poison. Wild sacrifices himself heroically using up his life force to allow Bon and Meliodas to escape purgatory. Or did he? This guy got killed, but actually he comes back as a dog. Hellbrum dies 4 separate times. And I wouldn't even be surprised if the Demon King came back, taking over a disabled carrot. Even Escanor dies, and any second now he'll be back.
I beg.
Natsu, get out of here. Giving a character a fake death can be an amazing plot element that really subverts expectations if done correctly, or you could be Boruto. But if you spam revive people like you have unlimited revive seeds, then there'll be no meaning behind the real deaths. This is so common because the story includes a lot of redemption arcs, which is respectable because it's teaching that maybe all people need to fix their lives is a second chance. But I don't like redemption stories about serial killers. I wasn't thinking, oh man, I wish O.J. Simpson turned his life around. I was thinking, man, I wish the glove fit so they didn't have to quit, but if it rhymes, he didn't commit the crime. As the story progressed, the fights ran into a bit of a problem. Remember early fights like Meliodas versus Guild Thunder? Because of his ability to use lightning magic, the fight was dynamic and fluid, but then all the creativity just got sucked out of the fights. At a certain point, it turns into Star Wars with two sides shooting lasers at each other. In the big final battle with the Demon King, Meliodas was just shooting the black balls that took down Mr. Incredible. This happens mostly because at a certain point, power balancing gets thrown out the window. The moment you start introducing abilities like the power of death, or snow that insta-kills anyone who touches it, or Merlin's up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start, or King's petrification ability, or Meliodas' new form that never gets used, or Chandler's absolute order where if you don't follow his orders you die, then the whole story boils down to,
You idiots! If you've always been able to use that convenient technique, why didn't you do so before?
Speaking of this green sunflower, I do not fuck with Chandler Bing. The original demon felt like such an ass pull that was needed to balance out the scales. But at least it wasn't as bad as Chaos. This is like if Goku beat Zeno and then an even stronger god showed up. Because of this power cliff between each arc, all characters after their debut are instantly sidelined to the point they simply exist, like the Three Stooges. Yet the most disappointing part of the power system is still the 10 Commandments curses. Each of the 10 Commandments had a unique ability, such as Galland, who had the ability that anyone who lies or goes back on their word would be turned to stone. Sure, it led to a lot of plot holes, like you're gonna tell me that nobody lied to Galland.
Hey honey, long day at work?
Yeah, huh? What is this? Have you been cheating on me?
Of course not, sweetie. Don't be silly. Those are yours.
Oh, right. You ready for the demon dance tonight?
Yeah, I'll be ready in 5 minutes.
No, gallant wife!
Also Merlin, who had nullification to the commandments, with the canon explanation being she forgot. Yeah, okay. But then we only got to see 5 of the commandments in action, and they were barely used at that. The writing itself is pretty good, but it's not that part of the video yet. I cannot stand the amnesia trope in anime for the most part, and they keep giving characters amnesia, where although it makes sense sometimes, completely reverses all the character development they did earlier for the sole reason of, wait a minute, if they fall in love too quickly, then they have no character development outside of crying every fight. The ending did feel stretched out, like the mangaka kept it going due to its clear success, but my brother in Christ, it's time to put down the pen and conclude the story. What? The sequel was the 39th best-selling manga of 2021? My good friend, have you considered the 7 heavenly virtues, the 9 choirs of angels, the 12 disciples? Let me talk about what the show did right to bring balance to the universe. This is one of the few anime where the dub is actually more well-known than the sub. This is probably because most of us watched it on Netflix, and if you didn't, geez, let me check you into the senior citizens home, old man. When I think of Escanor, I think of Kyle. When I think of Hawk, I think of Christina. And when I think of Villager B from episode 14, I think of Doug. These 2 intros are also some of the most iconic in anime. The thing about Nakaba Suzuki, I know this is gonna shock a lot of you, but he wrote a good story. The entire concept of the universe that it takes place in is so simplistic but feels complete, even though it takes place in Britain. The driving element of one character that lives forever and one who is constantly restarting is an intriguing concept that I haven't seen many times for reasons I'm sure, but it's still really good. Some of the twists, like the Esther Rosa reveal and that Bond was actually a virgin up until chapter 308, trust me it's important to the lore, are done well because the mangaka is really good at foreshadowing. In season 1, when it was hinted that a sin could be a traitor, I suspected every single one of them, until I didn't, because we solved that mystery, but one of the sins was actually a traitor. King, who got them cancelled for a lack of inclusivity. The mangaka is also so good at creating hype moments. When Meliodas switched it on, it never felt out of place. Just look at their names, the 7 deadly sins, the 10 commandments, the weird fangs. Okay, maybe not that one. And I cannot tell you what a grip this man had on the anime community in 2018. Every time he spoke, boys became men. Apologize to me that you were born into my world. These quotes had Shakespeare quaking in his boots. I am the one who stands at the pinnacle of all races is such a cold line that I'm not allowed to say. The characters for the most part are all really likable and well written, from Bond to Villager B. My favorite when I was a young one was Hawk, and you know what? The 8th sin of Leftovers is still pretty funny. Meliodas kind of sucks, since guys like him are the reason why you have to cover up your shoulders in schools. Elizabeth was the proprietor of the Taku no Jutsu and sure did pocket sage the entire anime and even sounds like a Valorant e-girl.
Sir Meliodas, do you need a heal?
The original user of Infinity, and I cannot tell you what a chokehold Merlin had on me as a teenager. But discovering this is her true form was my 13th reason why I felt like I got groomed. Bond was that guy. He stole everything. That dude's clothes, the Fairy King title, his sister's virginity in chapter 308. Trust me, it's important to the lore. But you can't talk about the characters without mentioning my glorious King Escanor. If I had to show any anime clip to get a 13-year-old kid to watch anime, I would show him Rent a Girlfriend. But if they had loving parents, I would show them Escanor versus Estarossa. Yet I will never forgive them for NTRing my goat. I don't care about the rest of them, especially the guy whose entire ability is to give trauma to people. You're not my father, relax. Almost all characters follow a theme that bad guys aren't all bad and that good guys aren't all good. My favorite of this instance was Fraudrin, who grew to love the kid of the body he hijacked, which was so unexpected but really showed the depths of even the villains. Too bad everything good in this story was ruined by giving Elizabeth this 5 and below haircut. In conclusion, if you flip through the manga fast enough, it has better animation.
You need to shut up now.
0 out of 10, I wished I was the one who got amnesia. Hello, Outro Lunar here. You're probably not wondering where all my uploads have been. Well, I went to Portugal first, and now I am moving back to the land of freedom in a few months, so they took all my stuff, and I am working under a bedsheet now. So until I get there in June-ish, my upload schedule will be pretty bad, so thanks for bearing with me, and also this was a long video, and I may or may not have deleted my script once and had to redo it. Click here and click, stuff, videos, epic.
You can see it, Maharaga! You can see my terrible upload schedule!
Arthur is dead.